What is up, everyone? We are back for day 2. If my audio is bad, I'm out of studio today. It's another road game, so I apologize. We're back for the second set of games, so we kind of know what the rotations are, stuff like that. Welcome in. DK, thoughts so far, and how do you attack these slates? Now, how do you overreact to some of the rotations or some of the performances, or do you kind of meet in the middle?
Yeah, so I think with one game already under the belt, what a lot of the more casual players do is they're just kind of jam in the guys that did well game one. And I think we can identify some nice spots, or maybe some guys the volume was there but kind of underperformed. So that's kind of how I like attacking this. Also starting the day off in piss, played a Ty Washington 0 for 4, so early slate already chalked up for me.
True Ty fashion too. Got the star. They went small. It's a small ball lineup. I got a little bit. I didn't want to go crazy though, but probably was a good play. Early starters are always the kind of the move. But anyways, let's get into it. We have a team that was in a blowout. The Orlando Magic. The main guys lost some minutes, as did the Cavs when they played. So I do kind of Anthony Black went off regardless. But let's talk about this Orlando stuff first. Decently priced, but I don't know how much of a priority they really are, besides maybe Jay Huff, who I think if they would have gave him like full minutes would have been really nice. I think Black's still affordable, but no, guys, I think we should jam. Do you have any differences than me?
Yeah, so I mean, I do think Huff is a solid value. I'll say I think he overperformed a little bit last game, so I don't think we'd expect that type of production. I think he's a fair play. The starters last game were Black, Howard, De Silva, Culver, and Huff. Expecting the same starters unless we hear otherwise. Culver only played 19 minutes. Again, all the starters lost 45 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes because of the blowout. I think it's a little tougher to get to Culver at that price point. Even De Silva, I think, is a little priced up. I think Howard and Black would be the two main targets there. I think both have a pretty similar ceiling, but I think Anthony Black has a bit of a higher floor since he'll be doing the ball handling. So reasonable price point there for Black. Again, don't be super worried about the minutes last game. Black, Howard, those guys are on pace for close to 30 minutes. So those two, and then a little bit interested in Jay Huff. Not a ton else, though. I know Xavier Moon played about 20 minutes off the bench, but he got extended because of the blowout. So be careful there. Look at those minutes. I think mainly the top two guys and a little bit interested in Huff.
Yeah, Jet Howard, just from his college days, just tilts my face off. He just feels like he has to do it from the scoring. So give me Black. The guy's like a triple-double threat if is needed. The Pelicans, we finally have the guys added to the player pool. Isaiah Brockington's in the player pool. I think they added everyone else as well. So let's see. We got Brockington, Hawkins, Hall, Brooks, Messi with the starters. I haven't looked at their pricing yet. Brooks for 5,600 is really tempting me based off what I've seen in college. And I kind of like these Pels. Hawkins is still sub 9K. They ran a close game, but they didn't really run their starters that many minutes. I mean, Hawkins played 30, but besides Hall, everyone else played like 22 minutes. Dare I say Hawkins is probably my favorite spend up, and I don't mind like a secondary Pelicans piece, not that it's needed. But you?
Yeah, so I think looking at this roster, looking at this roster, I think Hawkins is going to dominate usage. Again, he definitely underperformed last game. 29 minutes.
6 of 21.
Yeah, so he's going to be the primary playmaker here, 8.5K. I think he has one of the higher ceilings on this slate. So I'm pretty high there on Hawkins. They only played 9 guys. They did kind of spread out the minutes. You mentioned Hall played 27. Everyone else is in the high teens to low 20s. So a little bit disappointing there with the minutes. Hall, 6K. I think a reasonable play in the mid-range, but I think there's other guys, maybe better options point per dollar. The center position was split between Messi and Makovic. I think Makovic better point per dollar play since he's 4.7K and it's got the power forward eligibility. I
think we could see. Could you see them switching the starters up and going Makovic this game and just kind of rotating the two?
Yeah, they could.
It kind of makes me. I think they still play similar minutes, but it probably puts me on more Makovic naturally.
Yeah.
Just in case,
Yeah.
He always looked good. He looked good last summer league.
Makovic?
Yeah, comment.
Yeah, he was solid.
Yeah, because I remember him having some great games last year. But it's really the theme of the slate for me, DK, is I don't really have any slam dunk plays yet. So I'm kind of hoping we get some wild news or see stuff in the later games because I was really focused on early. But any other takeaways from this first game whatsoever?
No, I think ready to move on.
All right, so we got San Antonio. David Duke was back with the team, didn't play. That could always change today. If it doesn't, it's really hard not to just jam in Bouye again. I mean, should get most of the usage for the team. Harrison Ingram, the minutes are solid. I was kind of disappointed in Mensah minutes, but nevertheless, I think Bouye's off his play if Duke is out again. And then I'll keep playing Ingram. I'll keep playing with Fife. They're going to keep jamming his minutes. What do you know about David Duke as far as availability goes today?
Yeah, so that's a really good point that you mentioned. Keep an eye on David Duke. If he does not play, that makes me like a lot more of these Spurs. If he does play, I think it makes guys like Castle and Bouye riskier. I think Bouye is your best bet. 5.4K, 29 minutes. Again, we've seen him play for Miami in past summer leagues. Good point per minute player. So I think it stands out as a good value play for sure. Castle, I like his ceiling. Again, it's kind of him and Bouye doing the playmaking. Played 29 minutes, so I think he's a solid option. Ingram at 5'9", kind of indifferent on him. Played 31 minutes. That is the good thing. Sissoko also got a pretty significant minutes bump. He wasn't playing low 20s minutes in those pre-summer league games, but he played 31 last time out. Mensah smashed in 14 minutes, but again, 14 minutes, that is the concern. He is a center, even though they have him listed as small forward, power forward. No one else really off the bench that I would think I would get to. This Masala, how do you pronounce that guy's name?
Yeah. I think he was with the Warriors. Was he with the Warriors last year?
He had a good game in 100 minutes, but I don't think I can go there.
All right, let's go to the Atlanta Hawks. Who was this? The Moguet that was apparently out of official play?
I think that's the other Moguet. There's another Moguet.
There's 30 of them. They never end. But Dylan Windler, 29 minutes. The Riche starters, Moguet, Drusic, Baker. And then, we had 4 guys get over 25 minutes in the starting lineup in a roster that's pretty bad. Keaton Wallace off the bench, 23 minutes and went off for us. Thank God, because I stayed on. I think we could potentially see him in the starting lineup today. Windler is probably one of the safer plays if he starts again. Just the usage is going to be there. 4 of 10, 4 of 9 from behind the arc, 8 rebounds, 12 points. Just going to give you that good floor. Keaton Wallace price bumped a little bit, so kind of want to make sure he starts this game instead of coming off the bench. Just more secure minutes. And then this team Liddell had 13 minutes. Not really sure that's enough for me to go to. This team is so black. DK, what do you got?
Yeah, so glad you mentioned Keaton Wallace. Atlanta signed him to a 2-way contract after this game, so I do think there's a decent chance he could start here. So keep an eye on that. Good game off the bench, 10 points, 6 assists, 4 boards. So he's a relatively cheap play. He's 4.8K. So yeah, keep an eye on the Hawks lineup. I do think there's a chance he could start. You mentioned Dylan Windler. I think that's probably the next guy I would look to. He's actually a really good rebounder. Averaged I think it was 8 rebounds in the G League game, 9 rebounds, something like that. And this team is honestly not great talent-wise, so expect Dylan Windler to chuck when he's out there. So those two I think look pretty good. Not really interested in Nicola, the rookie, 5.1. I'll pass there. Moguet, 6.8. Had a good game in 27 minutes. I think a totally reasonable option at center. Not prioritizing him, but totally fine if you land there. Riche, or however you pronounce his name, I don't think I'm going to go there at 8.6. I think there's better spend-ups. And then that's basically it. Again, a decent rotation for sure. 9 guys, and a lot of the main guys play high 20s minutes.
Oh my God, Spain just scored. Yeah, and guys in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is my audio? I'm a little subconscious about it, but DK, we're at the halfway point. I want to go ahead and ask you, to this point, who is your favorite play?
From the first 2 games, you mean?
First 2. I'm going to go Windler or Wallace if he starts. I'm okay with playing both.
I'm going to say Jordan Hawkins.
Oh, you cheater. I hate you. Let me check who the Spain goal was from. I'm sorry, this is very unprofessional, but Nico Williams. Nice. I love that kid. Okay. Let's get into these last 2 games. We got the Denver Nuggets, which, man, just brutal, DK. Holmes. It's a 6. Okay, not bad, guys. I appreciate it. The Holmes thing sucks so bad. What I ended up doing is putting Parker Braun, I put Jalen Williams in the starting lineup, and I just split him and Parker Braun as the 26 minutes from Holmes. That's just kind of the easy way out. What did you do as far as who you think slots in the starting lineup, and what did you do with their minutes?
Yeah, so I think it's probably going to be Alexander. He played the most on the bench last game. So I think they go there, and then they start Hall at the 5, Tyson at the
Okay, so I thought about that too, but I was like, maybe they're just like, they have this thing for this big lineup and they're just going to stick to it. But yeah, I mean, we heard reports in our Discord, we saw it, that they love Alexander. They want him to be a 6-man, but this puts him in just switching the whole lineup dynamic. I like that too. I did bump his minutes, but I just thought that maybe just in case. But yeah, I think the same thing. I mean, you have to like their starters. It's going to, like you said, if in that path, we're going to have Alexander, Strother, Pickett. God, first of all, those three. I mean, if you tell a college basketball lover that those three will be starting together, it's kind of wild. And then Tyson Hall. I love the bounce back game from Tyson. I just love it. I don't care. He had one bad game. I could play him and Hall together. I want one or the other for sure again today. And I also want one of these three guards. What about you?
Yeah, no, I think the price points here are great for Denver. They ran a very tight rotation, 9 guys, but 2 guys on the bench played sub 10 minutes. Another one only played 11. So they ran a very, very tight rotation. We've kind of seen that in years past with Denver. They usually do run a relatively tight rotation for the summer league. So, I mean, this is one of my favorite teams to target. As far as the top end guys, I think Strother is the highest ceiling. He got 19 shots up last game, but then called up the highest usage, and he's at a totally reasonable price point here at 7.7K. So love the ceiling there. I think Pickett and Tyson, very safe play, 6'7" for Pickett, 5'8" for Tyson. Both kind of underwhelmed last time out, but again, minutes were there. 30 minutes, 10 shots for Pickett, 30 minutes, 10 shots for Tyson. So we've seen, some big games from Tyson last summer league. Pickett, we know, is a guy that's going to have the ball in his hands a ton. I think both those guys are really good options at the mid-range. Also pretty high on PJ Hall at 5K. Should start. He played 28 minutes last time out. Good point per minute. And then Alexander, if he shifts in the starting lineup, will be another good value. So basically, I like the whole starting 5. I don't really know who they would extend off the bench, but that is the starting 5. I mean, I think you want to get at least one of those nuggets, maybe even at least 2.
Yeah, so I think right now I'm definitely going to have 2, like for sure, unless something else happens. But even if some wild stuff had to happen for me, not have 2 nuggets in my lineup today. Let's get to the Raptors. Another team that was involved in a pretty massive blowout. Carlson, the surprise start. We got in time. We could swap on him. He was one of our guys I listed that could start. And I said Dessou or Carlson are the 2 guys I would want instead of Mogbo. Carlson did awesome for us. I still think he lost even a couple minutes potentially. Dessou was a DMP. Mogbo was the other guy that got minutes. And the guy you mentioned, Tamichi, actually played too. I mean, he played 17 minutes. So I feel like these guys would have I think Dick would have played like 28. I think Walter would have played 25. Agbaji like 27. And they're priced pretty decently today. I mean, Carlson would obviously, if he starts again, they didn't price him up, I don't believe. Yeah, he's still 4K. So, I mean, it's just probably a lock. I mean, and Dick, I told you guys yesterday, I love Dick. And I believe he was the highest scorer on the slate. Can't go wrong with that. I think he only played 24 minutes. I think he sees more today. His price went down. This is going to be a back and forth game. We're already going to have our nuggets. Why not run it back with a couple Raptors guys? DK, do you like Dick with me?
So I do think the one concern here with Toronto is just the minutes, right? And I actually wanted to check that. I was like, a lot of starters, played low 20s minutes. They had to have, got subbed out because of the blowout. Actually, incorrect. They closed the blowout. Agbaji was out there. Grady Dick was out there. It was just kind of the rotation that they ran. They ran a very gross rotation. So that does worry me with this Raptors team. Looking at
Okay, question. Yeah. Do you think it was because they limited, regardless of outcome, knowing that they're going to be on a back-to-back? So it's okay, regardless of the outcome of this game, we're going to do these minutes, and then we're going to be on a back-to-back, so we're going to do similar minutes tomorrow.
Could be. I mean, it also could be just because they were winning by a wide margin for majority of the game. So that could be why. I think if maybe Oklahoma City it was more competitive for most of the game, that maybe some of the starters could have played a little bit more. But
so instead of losing the late fourth quarter run, they might have lost early third quarter, maybe 2 or 3 minutes in the early third quarter, some shit like that.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, some of these are sometimes stuff just doesn't make sense in summer league. So I was surprised that they closed. Good looks on that.
Yeah, there's
a lot going on over here.
There's some weird stuff that goes on for the summer league for sure. They look at the top end guys, Agbaji, Dick, Walter. I mean, I think Dick is probably your best bet. Agbaji had a really bad game in
I hate him.
24 minutes. He was not good at all. He'll be unowned. Both
he's never good.
Just because of the minutes. And then Walter, I have no interest in him. Freeman Liberty came off the bench, so really can't go there. He did play well in 15 minutes, just not enough.
Yeah.
Not enough run though to get to him.
Shot 15 times.
Sorry.
Shot 15 times.
Yeah. I mean, he'll chuck when he's out there for sure. But if he's going to play sub 20 minutes at that price, I think it's kind of tough to go there. Shed started, only played 19 minutes. Again, kind of hard to prioritize him. I think my favorite play, though, would be Carlson. Started at the 5, went for 13, 8, and 2. I don't know if we can get that level of production again in college. And his last year, he averaged 17, 7, and 1. But the flat min price, I think he stands as one of the better values on the board. We'll talk about some good value in this last game. I think there's good value on both sides of the ball, but Carlson is definitely up there as one of the better point per dollar plays on the slate.
Okay, so let's go through a scenario here. Okay. Rapid Stars come out. They don't start Carlson. They're going to start Chimichi or maybe even Mogbo. You completely coming out Carlson?
Yeah, I think if he doesn't start, I wouldn't go there. There is some really good value in the late game. We talked about some decent value already in the first few games, but I think I would pivot off if he doesn't start.
Yeah. Maybe they give Dessou the start and then they just give Carlson a DMP and they just rotate. Somebody used to do that back in the day. Was it the Thunder would do that? Yeah. That's what their says. They would like to DMP the guys who didn't start, and then when they started, they played massive.
I remember that. Well, a few teams would do that. They would run like the bench would be like a different rotation each time.
Yeah. All right. On to Chicago. The Sanogo thing was so annoying for DFS. Like, checks in like 2 minutes into the game. Anyways, I think he does get the start here. Only 7.6K. Good matchup. And then, oh my God, they didn't price up the guards. Oh, Lordy mercy. Oh, that's bad, DK. So, Stewart locking, obviously, again. Man, actually, I wish Domash played a little bit more, but Stewart is a lock for me. Anything different for Chicago besides Stewart and the obvious Sanogo?
Yeah, so obviously the Bulls trolled hard. That had me in literally full tilt mode to start the day because I had infinite money on Sanogo props, had his over PRA at 16.5, over rebound, everything, and he doesn't start. I was freaking out, but thankfully he absolutely smashed off the bench and then did start the second half. So keep an eye on the starting lineup, but I lean that he starts this game for how well that he played. They did sign him to a two-way too, so obviously they still have some interest in him. So 7.6K, again, he's the center. They enlisted small forward, power forward. Assuming he starts, I think he's a really good play. But if he doesn't start, he's a little riskier. The rookie Bazelis had a decent game as well at 8K, 29 minutes, 15, 7, and 2. I think I would prefer Sanogo if Sanogo does start. You mentioned Stewart, 4.5K, started. Didn't have the best shooting game, 5 of 16, but still put up a really solid game in 28 minutes. I think he stands out as one of the best values on the slates. Really do like him. Drell was another starter. He was fine in 25 minutes. I think I like the upside a little bit more. Stewart. Phillips also had a pretty good game, 17 and 10. In the G League, he didn't have like insane numbers. I think he's a reasonable option in the mid-range. I think last game was a bit of an outlier. I don't think we'd expect that again. But again, this Bulls roster is not great, so Phillips should get some shots up. Off the bench, again, Sanogo came off the bench and played a ton. It was actually Brooks that started, but don't have a ton of interest in Brooks. His price is 5.2. I'll pass there. And then the last guy to mention would be Smart off the bench. He had a game in 22 minutes. Maybe an outside chance to start, but the issue is the price point. He's 6.5K, so you would absolutely need him to start to consider him.
Maybe he starts over Drill or something like that.
Yeah, possible.
All right. We don't differ on them at all. I think if Drill starts, it's another 4K. You can just have Carlson and Drill if they start. If you really want to jam some of these studs, but I don't really think you need to. But you can if you wanted to. Now for Golden State, you nailed it. You nailed it. You said TJD is looking like he's not going to play many minutes. He played when it starts to be the exact number DK, so I'm like, okay, there's a clear minutes limit in the summer league for him. And guess what it is? 22. Do you see that changing? I personally don't.
So I don't know how to feel about it because he played, I think it was 14 or 15 first half minutes. Obviously, this game was another blowout. He subbed back in late in the third quarter, but only for like a minute and then never played in the fourth. So I think if the game was competitive, he could have played a little bit more. But
especially it's the exact number though.
Yeah.
If it was like 23, I'd be like, okay. But it's been that 22 number. What, the third time now? It's been 22 exactly. It's like, I don't know. Sketchy. Yeah. I think it'd be fun to see where it's at. If somehow, for God's sake, the guy plays 28 minutes, he nukes a slate. So for those MME people, or even for those who play like 4 or 5 lineups, just play him in one. If he doesn't start, you can swap off and go down. If he does, you should get 22. He had a pretty bad game, but not like you're going to get a 0. You can get 22 if he starts, and it's 22 minutes. I think he's what do we have as a near fantasy point per minute guy? Summer League. Let me see.
Yeah, should be over that. But yeah, so
1.32. I mean, yeah, so he performed well under his mean. I mean, so if he does the 22-minute mark again, you're fine on the floor, and God forbid if he plays 28 minutes. The rest of Golden State guys, I'll let you break down.
Yeah, so Brett did mention something in the chat. I do think there's an outside chance in the back-to-back you could see Jackson Davis and Podziemski not play or even get shut down. That is possible. So keep an eye on it. I would say more likely that they do play, but not a guarantee. But I think there's a lot to like from Golden State. So obviously, the top two guys are where the offense is going to be run through with Podziemski and Jackson Davis. I think Podziemski's a little bit safer just based on minutes that we've seen. But I do think Jackson Davis will be very low owned, especially after only 22 minutes. Again, I think if he probably would have played a little bit more, if this game would have been competitive. I do not play Guy Santos. He is with Brazil overseas, so do not play him. But then there's some good value here. We have like price starters. You got Rowe, flat min price. I would say a bit of an outlier game last game with 14, 9, and 2, 4 steals and a block. If you look at the pre-summer league games, he wasn't putting up that level of production. Still, though, good value. Plowden's been playing well in the pre-summer league games. He went for 19, 2, and 2 with a steal and a block. He's the flat min price. Yuri Collins is the other starter, 6, 5, and 3. He has, not a super high ceiling, so I think I like the ceiling a little bit more with like Plowden and Rowe, but not completely out of play. 4.3 for Yuri. I think he'll be relatively low owned. Ethan Thompson has been chucking off the bench, and he did it again, 11 shots, but only made 2. His price is 4.1K. I think like if you're not looking good going into the late game, you need to make up ground. Like I would probably get off, what I think will be, relatively popular Plowden in a row and maybe take a shot in a low and Ethan Thompson and try to make up that ground because he's had a couple big games off the bench and he will shoot when he's out there. But yeah, Golden State, I would say definitely one of my favorite teams on the slate. And then for some reason, or not for some reason, but if Jackson Davis and Podziemski get ruled out, then that changes everything. Then you're going to want at least probably 1 or 2 Warriors in every lineup.
Ethan Thompson would probably slide. I don't know if he was sliding in the starting lineup for Pods, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I think Bolden
for TJD.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the simple 2 things we know would happen if they are ruled out. Thompson and Bolden slide in for Pods and Jackson Davis and then if they don't, like, that's the good thing about playing the Warriors value. Even if they start the regular guys, you can start the 4K guys, and then you can get 2 really smash. Well, 1 mostly in Ethan Thompson. Just be okay. I'm going to play, let's say Plowden, and then Pods is ruled out. Okay, now I'm going to play Ethan Thompson because he's going to start and play a lot of minutes. Or you just hold on to Ethan Thompson if you need to catch up ground. But I really like that strategy. Bunch of value on the slate. First 2 games are just so blech. Besides Hawkins, I think you just kind of backload that value. You stack the nugs, easy money. We all print. Everyone's happy. Great day, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That's simple.
I think backloading is where I'm kind of leaning right now. The 2 late games, definitely the 2 games that I prefer to target on the slate. A couple of decent options in the early games that we talked about, but I think the 2 favorite teams for me to target would probably be Denver and Golden State.
Yeah, I agree. So plays of the day. I want to go a little out of the box here. So unless you have yours in mind, I'm going to do.
I'll think of one kind of outside the box as well.
Okay. I kind of want to do. Okay, I'm going to do one in the game I don't love, but I'm going to go Dylan Windler again. Just slide him in there, 5,900. Do stuff from there. I think he gives you a good floor. I think he can always have a ceiling performance too. So Dylan Windler for me, even though I said to backload, he could be your 1 guy from the first 2 games. With Hawkins, he can be only 2 guys from the first 2 games. But what you got?
Okay, so I'm thinking this through. I'm going to say I think it'll be relatively low owned. This is more of a contrarian play, but I'm going to say Pickett. I think he's kind of in that price range where people are either going to go up to Strother or down to like Tyson Hall. So I think he'll go a little bit overlooked, but again, expect him to do a lot of ball handling, and I think it'll be kind of a sneaky play.
I like that. I like that a lot. Tomorrow, guys, we'll be back in the studio. I imagine DK will be joining me again. I'll be much more better, more clear voice. I won't be in a 100-degree garage. My balls are sweating right now. My balls are very hot. Let's have a great day. What's DK? Well, let me do mine first. I go first. Guys, run Pure Sports. Summer League package only. Curve 15% off. Bada boom, bada bing. Updated Discord. DK is in there, but he also has his own little thing going on where you can get all kinds of underdog props, and he went 10-2 yesterday, and the 2 losses were cucks. DK, where can I find you at?
Yeah, so you guys can find me on Twitter, DK __DFS, so 2 underscores. link in bio to join if you guys are interested, doing props and obviously doing DFS as well for some leagues. So grinding, just basically staying in the apartment 24/7.
I mean, we don't have any other option. Simple as that. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow. Appreciate you listening. I'm going to run the outro. I was prepared this time, so it's not going to be no awkward silence. DK, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace. Good luck, guys.